Sunday, and welcome to The Playing Field, the only show on Oswego where we debate the biggest topics in sports. I'm your host, Matthew Bishop, and joining me tonight are Matt Stone and Mitch Lamb. Gentlemen, let's get started. The Oswego State Lakers officially opened their hockey season this Friday against the Fredonia Blue Devils. Over the weekend, the team held an open scrimmage to the public, showcasing some of the 24 new players. They played 2 periods, then treated the crowd to 3 skills competitions. The Lakers look to repeat as SUNYAC championships this year. Matt, will they?
Obviously, this weekend we got a taste of what to expect from this Laker team, and the showcase was great. It was great for the fans. It was great for the team as well to come out and really show all the Oswego faithful what they have in store. But this team will not repeat as SUNYAC championship winners this year. You lose 14 seniors, obviously a huge blow. You lose a guy like John Whitelaw, a Chris Muse, a Chris Brown. I like either Plattsburgh or Geneseo. Those will be the 2 teams that'll be right there at the end. Oswego's going to be competitive. They'll probably be in the top 4 in the SUNYACs, maybe host the semifinal game, maybe even make the SUNYAC championship again. But I don't think they have the horses to win it this year, Mitch.
I agree with you, and I disagree with you. You're right. They lost a lot, and how dare you not respect the National Player of the Year, Paul Rodriguez?
I know.
How dare you? But moving on, they will come in second in the SUNYAC. They have 4 games against 2 of the top programs in the nation with Utica College and SUNY Plattsburgh, 2 teams that I actually like to make the Frozen Four. Okay. So with that being said, that's 4 losses right there. However, who else is in the SUNYAC really? Okay. They did lose, but they also reloaded. Look at incoming transfer J.J. Hart. He had a very good showcase. The goalies put on a show as well. I think the SUNY Oswego Lakers are going to be fine.
Well, here's the thing. I think this team is going to start off very strong at the beginning of the season. I think once they get into SUNYACs, that's where they're going to struggle. That's where they're going to have to play those tough SUNYAC games. And we even saw last year when they were clear-cut, maybe the best team or the second-best team next to Plattsburgh in the SUNYAC. They struggled in some SUNYAC games. It's tough to win in your conference, and obviously.
But they won the conference championships.
They did.
Mitch, will they get an at-large bid to the Frozen Four?
That depends how they. I honestly think it depends how they perform against Utica and Plattsburgh. I think that's the barometer for them. If they do well, look for a high possibility. If they get blown out, then I don't think so at all.
I think they're going to sneak in right at the end, maybe one of the last seeds to get in this year.
Similar to the men's team, the Oswego women's ice hockey team has a bunch of new faces. They finally have a full bench and are optimistic to be a force in the ECAC this season. Mitch, is this the season that the Lakers leapfrog Elmira?
Look, I know I'm going to get yelled at for this, but it is not. You said my point right away. 9 freshmen, 1 transfer, and the team doesn't know who the starting goalie is. With that being said, there's a lot of uncertainty for a team that looks to be the SUNYAC champions. If I'm looking at, the ECAC champions. If I'm looking for a team that is going to be the ECAC champions, I'm looking for a team with continuity, consistency. I know I'm going to get, and like you said, I'm looking at Elmira.
Right. Elmira is absolutely going to be the best team coming into the season. However, I think with Paul, Borson, Seamont, St. Clair, so many returners. Seamont, 24 points last year. Borson had 16. I mean, this is a team that's really coming together. A lot of their best players are upperclassmen. So you know what?
But you have 9 freshmen that are going to be playing on these lines who don't have the team chemistry that you get when you have 15 players on a roster, 18 players on a roster like you had last year. That's going to be a lot of confusion. That's going to be a lot of uncertainty, and it's going to hurt the Lakers when it comes to the most.
The key, as you said before, is the goaltender situation. We don't know who it is yet. Probably not going to be Bridget Smith this year. Either it would be Catherine Cote or Tori Travato. Whoever steps in as goalie for Oswego, they're really going to determine the fate of this team.
Matt, why did Bridget Smith lose out on their starting gig?
I mean, it's tough to tell right now because she did not have a bad season by any stretch of the imagination last year. You know what? Maybe Travato or Cote have come in and really impressed during practice. That's up to Coach Diane Dillon. So we won't really know until the season starts. If Cote or Travato come into the season and they blow people away, then obviously we'll know why.
Yeah, I think the goalie position in hockey is like the quarterback position in football. You don't want to be changing in goalies, and you don't want to be changing in quarterbacks mid games, let alone mid season.
Mark my words. If the goalie plays well this year for Oswego, if the goalie, whoever it may
which
be,
we don't know who it's going to be yet,
whoever it may be, if they have a great season, this team will win the SUNYACs this year.
Elmira has
returners.
Yeah, and they have so many they have 10 new players.
But now, this is the deepest bench this Laker team has had in years.
Yeah, but it's the deepest bench with no chemistry. Elmira has
no
so
chemistry.
many.
Paul, Borson, Seamont, St. Clair.
You're right.
These
after
are
those
returners.
first 2
Lizzie
lines,
Marks.
after those top 2 lines, There's a
Fair.
lot of uncertainty. You can't put 2 lines out
This
there
was
for
a
the
team that
whole
was-
game.
But-
But they have 3 lines now
now
this
they
year.
have
They
3
have
lines now.
2 for defense this year. How's that going to be effective?
Again, it's going to be a lot of uncertainty because you have all those freshmen and transfers coming in. And the goalie. You don't know who your goalie is. That doesn't bode well for a team.
Without a doubt, but that's why I said before, my last point, goalie plays well. Whoever it may be, I don't know. We don't know.
How
who
are
it
you going
is
to
yet.
find what goalie gets hot? By switching them in and out
Well,
mid-games?
That's a fair
in
point.
between
And
games?
we even saw it
You
last
can't
year
do
with
that.
We even saw it last year where there was some games with Travato that she would play and Bridget Smith would hit the bench. But you know what? Whoever it is, if it's Cote, if it's Travato, if they play well, this team's going to be tough to beat in the SUNYX. They were competitive last year, and you know what? With all their returners, Melissa Seamont's is one of the best players in the conference. There's no doubting that. You know, she had 24 points
Yep.
last year, right at the top of the ECAC in total points scored. So you know what? This team has so many returners.
You can catch the men's hockey game Friday night, 6:30 start on WTOP. Saturday and Sunday, we've got the women's tournament. Right now, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going out to St. Louis to figure out if the umpires made the right call to end Game 3 of the World Series last night. Stick with us. You're watching The Playing Field.
Buzzed. Just buzzed. You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right. This isn't happening. He'll be fine.
I feel good.
Really? No, not really.
Buzz driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
Shocking.
Attention students and faculty. Avery Rental Properties is now renting for the next school year. Avery accommodates all group sizes, small or large. Avery Rental Properties. Make our house your home. 24-hour maintenance, garbage removal, snow removal, and off-street parking. Avery Rental Properties. 315-343-5005.
The 2013 Louis B. O'Donnell Media Summit. Moderated by ESPN sports broadcaster in class of '87 Steve Levy. Coming to Waterman Theater November 6th. Stay connected by visiting mediasummit.org for updates.
Did you know that the shower uses about 7 gallons of water a minute?
I did not.
Wow, that's crazy.
Speaking of which, I gotta go shower now.
The forest is precious. One careless act caused by people, and its beauty could be gone for a lifetime. Protect our friends in the forest.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to The Playing Field. Right now in Busch Stadium in St. Louis, the Red Sox are winning 4-2 in the bottom of the 8th. But guys, let's look at what happened last night in St. Louis.
A lot of fun.
In the bottom of the 9th, the score tied at 4. St. Louis had runners at second and third with 1 out. Controversy came as Alan Craig rounded third, tripped over Will Middlebrooks, and scored at home plate. Umpire Jim Joyce called Craig safe after Saltalamacchia had tagged him out. Joyce ruled that Craig was obstructed by Middlebrooks at third base. Matt, did Jim Joyce get the call right?
Well, on our show today on WNYO, we said, me and Mitch said, how about our teams? Dan and I, our producer, obviously loves the Cardinals, and I'm a Jets fan. A lot of controversy with our teams in the last couple of weeks. The right call was made. According to the rules, the right call was made. And here's the thing that I told Mitch earlier today. Yadier Molina going home on that play was the best thing that St. Louis could do because Craig on second was irrelevant.
Did he do that on purpose then?
No. You see it right here. His momentum is shifting him towards there. He's trying to score. His adrenaline is so high right now. He's trying to get home, get the game-winning run. You know what? It's unfortunate, and as the rules state, there doesn't have to be intent. You see here, he falls, and boom, he's getting right up to go, falls over Middlebrooks, and obviously the play, and Dana Demuth, home plate umpire, calls him safe. So the right call was made. You know what would have happened? If they would have said that no obstruction was called, the Cardinals would have been livid. So you know what? One team wasn't going to be happy, and the way the rule is designed, the right call was made at Busch Stadium last night.
This was the correct call by the letter of the law. It was the right call. We've gone over the rule books. We've seen the rule books. Yes, it was the right call. They had to make the call. However, I feel like the call didn't need to be made. Alan Craig could have prevented the call from being made. If you go back to the replay, you're right, he has 3 feet on either side of the base path, but he had 5 feet to the other side he could have ran to. Will Middlebrooks was headed to the grass, and so was Alan Craig's momentum. If we watch it here, we're getting an update of tonight's game. No, not tonight's game. This was earlier in Boston. But if you look at the replay of that play, Alan Craig could have gone 5 feet on the other side of that base path and been clean home and safe anyways.
Hold on, Matt. Is this something that MLB can look at in the offseason and maybe rewrite for next season?
I don't really think it is because they got the call right. It just could have been avoided. They got the call right. There's nothing to review. There's nothing to change. It's just it could have been avoided by the players. It's not like Alan Craig was...
My point, though, is Middlebrooks didn't have the intent to do it. Would that be something that they could change? Is take out that because he didn't have the if he had intended on tripping Craig going home, that's one thing. But he really didn't have an intent.
No, it has nothing to do. I'm not talking about intent at all. I'm
Mitch,
talking about Alan Craig avoiding this completely. If he goes around Will Middlebrooks, he's safe.
He is a base runner.
He is safe without
a
call being made. Absolutely. He trips halfway. Okay. He trips halfway down the base path because his momentum is messed up tripping over Will Middlebrooks.
Mitch, a base runner is obviously entitled to whatever path in the baselines that he could take. And you know what? The path that he chose to take, which he is obviously right in the rule, Middlebrooks was in the way, and regardless if he did it on purpose or not,
I'm not arguing whether.
So why are you telling Craig that he should go the other way? He should not have to.
I didn't say he should have. I said it could have. I said it could have been avoided, and it could have. He had he had 5 feet to run.
You're not.
He was heading to
you're not
the grass.
If you look
at the path,
Mitch, there's no time to think about that.
You're right. There's not. But I'm just saying it could have been avoided. I'm not saying it should have. I'm not saying it would have. I'm saying it could have.
Matt, quick prediction. It looks like it's going to go to a best-of-3 series now if Boston wins tonight. What's your prediction?
I said it before the year started, or before the series started. Red Sox in 7, and man, my prediction's looking good right now.
I'm keeping with Cardinals in 6. Still possible. Win at home tomorrow night, and go back to Boston. Steal 1. First game back in Boston. Win in 6.
It's going 7.
Let's go down to the nation's capital, where they've been on baseball hiatus for the past month. 3 Washington Nationals baseball players had surgery so far this offseason. Steven Strasburg had bone chips removed from his surgically repaired elbow. Bryce Harper had the bursa in his left knee removed, bothered him all throughout last season. And Adam LaRoche had his left elbow, which he throws on, cleaned up. That's a lot of surgeries to go through by arguably some of the best players in the Nationals organization. Mitch, will this have an effect come spring training?
No, all the players are supposed to be back in 4 to 6 weeks. Spring training doesn't start in 4 to 6 weeks. Right. It's going to be mid-January, late December. By then, it might not get them back as quickly as they want to. They might not be as good as early in spring training, but they will be fine come regular season when it counts.
All 3 of these guys are going to come back completely healthy.
Yes.
See, I disagree because we've seen an injury history with Steven Strasburg. We've seen this guy have the Tommy John surgery. We've seen him go out for a season before.
And this is the same shoulder he's had.
Right, and his herky-jerky motion, you see how he throws a lot of gas. It's tough, and you know what? For me, his injury is going to be the killer for this team because he's their ace, he's their staff ace, and you need a guy like that to stay healthy, and he hasn't proven in his 3-4 years in MLB that he's able to do that.
Bryce Harper is not as important as Steven Strasburg?
No, Bryce Harper is important without a doubt, but you know what? Strasburg is your ace, Strasburg is your guy.
You can build a team around Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper is a great player, but you know what? Strasburg
He was in the MVP running in April and May and March.
And April, May, and March, not where it counts in July, August,
Good points, guys. We'll continue this talk another day. Coming up after the break, we'll take a look at some of today's NFL games. Stick with us. You're watching The Playing Field. That was funny.
Everyone has friends. There's online friends, friends to go out with on a Saturday night, friends to hang out with and do nothing, friends who show up on moving day. And then there are the friends who'll be there if someone is dealing with a mental illness. Are you one of those friends?
The 2013 Louis B. O'Donnell Media Summit. Moderated by ESPN sports broadcaster in Class of '87 Steve Levy. Coming to Waterman Theater November 6th. Stay connected by visiting MediaSummit.org for updates.
I'm CNN's Rob Marciano, and you're watching WTOP 10, your television station.
I'm lucky. Let me help you with that. I get to do something I love. It has nothing to do with touchdowns or titles. Everybody bring it in. I get to play a part in the life of someone just starting out. How many of you think homework is just as important as teamwork? I help keep kids in school. Good. And that's the name of the game. My name is LaDainian Thomason. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United.
Hi, I'm Al Roker, class of '76, Oswego State University. You're watching WTOP, Channel 10. We didn't have this when I was in school. We just had radio and smoke signals.
Attention students and faculty. Avery Rental Properties is now renting for the next school year. Avery accommodates all group sizes, small or large. Avery Rental Properties. Make our house your home. 24-hour maintenance, garbage removal, snow removal, and off-street parking. Avery Rental Properties. 315-343-5005.
I'm lucky. Let me help you with that. I get to do something I love. It has nothing to do with touchdowns or titles. Everybody bring it in. I get to play a part in the life of someone just starting out. How many of you think homework is just as important as teamwork? I help keep kids in school. Good. And that's the name of the game. My name is LaDainian Thomason. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United.
Welcome back to the playing field. After beating the Eagles 15-7 today, the New York Football Giants are on a 2-game winning streak. Their record now stands at 2-6. They might be in last place in the NFC East, but they're only 2 games out of first. Matt, can they make a playoff run out of this?
No! This is a awful, awful football team.
Look at the division they're in.
Josh Brown, you know what? The Cowboys have 4 losses, but they have lost to a Kansas City Chiefs team by 1 point who is undefeated. They have lost to the Denver Broncos 51-48. That's a bad loss. They've lost, close loss, excuse me. They've lost to the San Diego Chargers with Philip Rivers, who has played absolutely awesome this season.
Who's on a mediocre team?
Who's not?
I also
he's on a
asked
team
about
that's
the Giants,
4-3.
but keep going.
No, but the point I'm trying to make is this Dallas Cowboys team is still in control of this division. The Giants struggled against a Michael Vick-less for most of the game Eagles team. They won 15-7, another ugly win. They beat the Vikings and the Eagles. Come on, give me a break. This team is a joke. This team is going nowhere. This team is not making the playoffs.
Quick question. So Eli Manning struggled when he played Michael Vick? Or the off? No, the defense played well, regardless
Against
whether
Matt
they were playing against. Did Michael Vick score on them?
No,
Okay.
He also left the game.
He also left the game. You're right, but he could have scored if this vaunted Eagles offense, but they held it down.
Did I say the Eagles are a good football team?
They have the capability to put up a lot of points in a real big hurry. They are 2 games out. They are 2 games out of the division lead. We've said that. You said that. You just said that. Fun fact about the New York Giants, they have a 4-game winning streak in each of the last 7 seasons with Eli Manning, without the playoffs.
That only gets them to 4-6. Can they get to 10-6?
Realistically, no. Can they get to 8-8? Yes. Will the division be won by much higher than 8-8? No. 9-7 might take this division. 8-8 will take the division.
Dallas is 4-4, but obviously, as I said before, they've lost to some great teams.
And they barely beat the Eagles. They barely beat the Eagles. The
Cowboys?
Yes.
Did they win though?
Yes.
Okay.
Did the Giants not win today?
If the Giants
yes,
had
they did.
6 losses.
The only touchdown that was scored today was a special teams touchdown. The Giants' defense was stellar against the best running back in the NFL.
The
What is
the
this
best running back
motion?
in the NFL?
Absolutely.
He's better than Adrian Peterson?
He has the most yards. He has the most yards. He has the most yards from
carries, too.
scrimmage. Okay, so if it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Give him the ball.
If you're that impressed with the win over the Minnesota Vikings and the Philadelphia Eagles,
I'm not saying I'm impressed. I'm saying they are in it. As much as you hate to say
it, they're not winning the division.
Let's talk about the Cowboys, who you say still has control over the division.
Let's do it.
While the battle on the field might be over, the war of words is sure to continue between Des Bryant and Calvin Johnson. They both think the same thing. that they're the best wide receiver in the NFL. The Detroit Lions won today on the final drive, 31-30. Johnson had 14 receptions for 329 yards. He also added a touchdown. Des Bryant had 3 receptions for 79 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mitch, out of these two, who is the better receiver?
It's really funny that this came up today because we were talking about it on the radio.
Yes.
We went back and forth.
Yes.
You chose Des Bryant. You chose wrong.
No.
Yes. You chose wrong.
You're taking me out of context.
Megatron is the best receiver in the NFL,
Agreed.
And he showed it today.
Agreed.
He outplayed and outclassed Des Bryant by far.
What did Des Bryant do wrong? Get mad at Tony Romo?
What did he do wrong? He threw a temper tantrum and almost got in a fight
Okay,
with your captain.
When Michael Irvin did that to Troy Aikman, it was applauded.
And Troy Aikman is, or not Troy Aikman, and Terrell Owens is now not in the NFL. So this act is going to wear thin
Terrell
very
Owens is
quickly.
One of the probably 5 or 10 best wide receivers of all time.
Yeah, and you know what? His act got old quick. That's why he bounced around.
Des has matured this season, first of all. Also,
He's matured.
Listen,
He's almost got in a fist fight with Jason Witten. DeMarcus Ware, another captain, had to hold him back.
Don't mistake passion and emotion for being silly. Listen,
He
Des
was being
Bryant
silly.
and Calvin Johnson, you compare them, they're both 50 games. Their first 50 games in the NFL, Des has more touchdowns and more receiving yards. Now, Megatron right now is the best wide receiver, but in 2 years, and then in
Megatron's
5 or
still
6
going to
years,
be in the
no,
best
it will
receiver.
be Des Bryant.
Well, Matt,
Okay,
who has
5
the
or
better,
6 years.
Hold on. Who has the better quarterback throwing to him?
I still think it's Tony Romo, and Stafford has had a great season. Don't get me wrong. But if I have to pick a guy right now to start my team with, Romo or Stafford, I'm going to pick Romo. Stafford just too turnover prone. We saw today Stafford has the capability of putting up 400, 500 yards. Romo's a better overall
I'm going to
quarterback.
agree with you. Tony Romo is the better quarterback. And you want to know why Des Bryant has a better start to his career? Cowboys have more weapons to throw to. They cannot
That means
afford.
wouldn't that mean he get the ball less?
No, it would mean he gets easier coverage to blow up.
No, not
Yes.
necessarily.
You see Megatron getting triple and double teamed
Reggie
almost
Bush.
every team. Why are they still double and triple teaming
And Des Bryant doesn't get doubled and triple teamed?
Not as often as Megatron
Yes,
does.
he does.
And Megatron still makes the catches over those tight coverages.
Producer Dan I in the back wants me to know he's disappointed with both of you. Matthew Stafford is the better quarterback
Oh,
according
give
to
me-
him.
come on, Dan.
We're going to take one more break, but when we
Yeah,
come back, we'll take a look at the BCS standings. Stay tuned. You're watching The Playing Field on WTOP.
A survey done by the Lifestyle Center found that 58.2% of Studio Oswego students believe that the typical student consumes alcohol daily. In actuality, it's only 0.7%.
Hey, did you want to come out to that party with us tonight?
No, thanks, I'm good. What about late night?
Yeah, let's go.
Great.
Overcoming misconceptions. Now that's style. This message was brought to you by the Lifestyle Center. For more information, visit oswego.edu/lifestyles.
Welcome to A Moment in the Wild, brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. This bull elk and his cows now share the woods in a good many areas with a species that was almost designated as the national symbol of our country, the wild turkey. Because the young turkeys are a prey species for several predators, including the lynx, they've developed the ability to fly within the first 2 to 3 weeks of life. Remember, however, that it's habitat that's the key to keeping our rich and varied wildlife.
The 2013 Louis B. O'Donnell Media Summit. Moderated by ESPN sports broadcaster and class of '87 Steve Levy. Coming to Waterman Theater November 6th. Stay connected by visiting mediasummit.org for updates.
These things we count on every day started as ideas. Ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support minority education today so we don't miss out on the next big idea tomorrow. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Hi, I'm CNN's Rob Marciano, and you're watching WTOP 10, your television station.
Attention students and faculty. Avery Rental Properties is now renting for the next school year. Avery accommodates all group sizes, small or large. Avery Rental Properties. Make our house your home. 24-hour maintenance, garbage removal, snow removal, and off-street parking. Avery Rental Properties, 315-343-5005.
My first week home was great. We had a party.
2 o'clock in the morning, they were waiting for me.
My niece was waiting for me at the airport with a sign.
There was a huge sign across my front house, and it said, "Welcome home, Megan."
They lifted me up on their shoulders, and the first week back, people just said thank you.
A new generation of veterans is coming home. Make a difference for them at welcomebackveterans.org.
The 2013 Louis B. O'Donnell Media Summit. Moderated by ESPN sports broadcaster and class of '87 Steve Levy. Coming to Waterman Theater November 6th. Stay connected by visiting mediasummit.org for updates.
To the playing field. We're into week 2 of the BCS rankings, and there's already been movement in the top 3. The Oregon Ducks jumped over Florida State, who was on a bye week and is now the number 2 team in the nation. Mitch, should Oregon be number 2?
Oregon should not only be number 2, Oregon should be the best team in the nation since September 8th, when Alabama played Texas A&M and they had that 48-42 shootout. Guess what the record of opponents that Alabama has played is? 16-30. Guess what that is for not only Florida State and Oregon? Flip it, 30-16. Not only should Oregon be number 1, but Florida State should be number 2. Alabama is only number 1 because they are getting the legacy pick. Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota are both leading their teams right now to what should be national championship bids. If they win out, they should be in the national championship over Alabama.
Who plays in a tougher conference, Alabama or Oregon in the Pac-12?
The record of opponents doesn't
because all the good
teams,
teams, the top 3 or 4 teams in the SEC, beat up on the lower teams. And here's why Florida State should be number 2. Now, the fact that you say Oregon should be number 1 is ridiculous. However, let me go. Florida State should be number 2. Not only did they go to Clemson and destroy the number 3 Tigers, 51-14. They beat the number 25 Maryland Terrapins 63-0.
Who's now
a ranked team. But you know what? But they're still a good football team. Who has Oregon beaten? They beat Washington, who clearly was overrated, and they beat UCLA at home.
Who beat a Stanford
Who
team.
lost to Utah?
Okay, they lost to Utah. They're still the number 6 team in the nation.
And obviously they shouldn't have been that high if they lost to the Utah Utes.
So Clemson shouldn't be that high if they lost to Florida State.
Oh, maybe that just shows how good. Clemson was number 3 at home.
Okay, and they lost.
Right.
So does that make them a true number 3
that
team?
Shows how, that shows how
wouldn't you think
good
a great
Florida
team,
State is.
Wouldn't you think a great team would win at home?
Matt, who goes to the national championship game?
I think it's going to be Bama and Florida State.
If all three teams win out, got to be Oregon and Bama. Even though I'm saying Florida State should be number 2, it's going to be Oregon and Bama. Look at that.
How'd you just say if Winston and Mariota make
Because they have the legacy pick of the voters. It's not my choice. It's theirs.
So you should say Bama shouldn't be in that.
I know, they shouldn't, but they're going to be because they will get
you
the
just
legacy.
Said they the legacy pick of the voters.
Guys, we're running short on time. Let's jump into everyone's favorite segment, Rapid Fire. Over under 18 wins for the Oswego men's ice hockey team.
Under.
Give me the push right at 18.
Best fantasy player 8 games into the season.
Ooh, Peyton Manning.
Yeah, it's probably been Peyton or Megatron to me.
Will the Broncos be able to stop the Chiefs?
Yes.
No, Kansas City remains undefeated.
That's a joke.
Who wins in the Vanek-Molson trade, the Sabres or the Islanders?
Sabres. They get a player and they get picks.
Islanders will see if Vanek signs long term, better deal for the Islanders.
Will LeBron win MVP this year?
No. Derrick Rose has the favorite coming back from injury.
You cannot pick against LeBron. Will win his 3rd consecutive MVP this year.
Over under 22 losses for the Heat this year.
Under.
I think they're right at that 20 mark, so I'll say under.
That's going to do it for us here tonight. Be sure to tune in again next Sunday at 11, only on WTOP. Follow us on Twitter at TPF on TOP. For Matt Stone, Mitch Lamb, Dan I, Joe Wilcox, and our entire crew, I'm Matt Bishop. Have a great week.